ladies and gentlemen. How we doing tonight? Another night of Bucko chat, Pirates chat on the ship. Anyway, Rich, how you doing tonight? We're joined by Rich, obviously, always, and I love it. How you doing tonight, bud?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We just finished off some major storms around here, the ever popular spring Texas storms, and yeah, I was kind of concerned we weren't going to be able to get together tonight, but everything seems okay here. Had tornadoes hit about 15 minutes from us that hit pretty hard.
Well, let's give a little prayer to those guys and hope they're all right, guys, girls down there. Um, that's rough, man. This weather out of control. But when you make everything look like the Midwest, and you know the Midwest is full of tornadoes, you tear everything down. It's going to be wide open city. But
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy. It really is. I know that you guys have had some really just idiotic weather.
there was a tornado actually, like over in Sharpsburg
Really?
last week. Yeah, and there was one in up in Union, ripped apart a barn, ripped apart a church. I think
Hmm.
a little crazy, a little crazy.
Yeah.
And like I said, you make everything look like the Midwest where tornadoes happen like there's no tomorrow. That's what's going to happen. But speaking of
Yeah.
tornadoes, these pirates have been a little bit tornado and tearing stuff up lately. Um, Connor Joe at the beginning last time we talked, he caught a little fire, but back hit homers in back to back nights, and then he hit it one another the following night after that. Um, he caught a little tornado fire going on.
Yeah, and O'Neill Cruz is hitting rocket ships off his bat again, which is good to see.
Right. I was gonna get into that. That's good for him. I'm very what he hit 119 or something off the bat the other day. I think that's what
He
he
had
came up.
121 last night. That double he hit to tie the game was 121.
With. I mean, that kid's special, and then he drops fly balls, but he made up for it for sure. But still, that drop fly ball hurt us.
Right, right. And I don't know. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's weird. Baseball's a weird game. I mean, people just don't. I mean, it's that old thing of a guy makes a spectacular play in the field to end an inning, and then he's the leadoff batter the next inning, or a guy does like O'Neill Cruz did and botches a pop fly that he catches 999 times out of 1,000, and then he's one of the heroes of the game, ties it up in the ninth. It's a crazy game, man.
That's why you play 27 outs.
Exactly, and I think that's part of why I really love the game is because no two games are the same. You look at football and you look at basketball and to a degree even hockey, you have a basic idea of what's going to end up happening over the course of the game. Then it's just a matter of, but there are just so many elements to baseball. You could have a 1-0 gem of a pitching matchup. You could have a 22-2 complete smashing, or you could have an 11-10 back and forth. Teams are scoring each inning, and you go up two, then you're down one, that's up, all that good stuff. You could have, a real quick 9-inning game, or you could have a game like the other night that went 13. You just honestly never know.
Or you could have a game where Cody Bellinger knocks the ball out of the catcher's hand and he's called safe.
Yeah.
Was Angel Hernandez behind the plate that day?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. That play made my head hurt.
Yes, yes. I couldn't believe they called him safe.
I couldn't either. I just because umpiring, the first thing you do before you even make the call on a play at the plate first thing you do as an umpire? Let me see the ball. First words out of your mouth, show me the ball.
And he was looking directly at the play.
Right, but still, show me the ball.
Right.
Show the ball, you're out. You don't show the ball, you're safe. Unless he was going to call Bellinger safe from the beginning, which would have been absolutely the most Mr. Magoo thing I've ever seen. I don't get it. I don't.
I don't get it either. Speaking of plays at the plate, um, the guy that couldn't throw out Sid Bream from left field getting into the Pirates Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think deservedly so.
I think he deserves to be in Cooperstown as well, but that's just me.
I think we got into part of this a while back. His run with the Pirates
Very
pretty
good.
close to made him Hall of Fame worthy. Then he
Only
went and screwed it up.
Only 192 home runs, though, right? Is that what he had in Pittsburgh, I think?
He had 3 MVPs.
He did have 3 MVPs.
I mean, I don't care if you got 50 home runs. You got 3 MVPs. That punches your ticket. I mean, that's just as good as having 500 homers with 3,000 hits, as far as I'm concerned.
So would it be neat to see Leland and Bonds reenact their first spring training?
They may do that just to jerk around, you know. That you may actually see that at the ceremony, you know. They kind of jerk around with it a little bit. That would be funny.
That would be real funny. I'd love it.
And nobody would get a bigger kick out of it than Manny Sanguillen, who's also being inducted, because you know, you hear all these stories about how Sanguillen was always the guy cutting up and causing all, you know, pulling the practical jokes and causing everybody to start laughing when things were getting a little rough and all that kind of thing with the Pirates in the 70s. He's probably going to be one of the biggest ones laughing about it if they do decide to do that.
Manny's a good guy. I got to meet him a couple times. I really like Manny.
I met him once, got him to sign a ball for me and that kind of thing. Like you say, really nice guy. You know, he was super good with the kids. And I'm sorry, that's how I look at that's part of how I grade an athlete.
Okay.
Because if you're, and that's why I don't remember if I told my Dave Parker story or not. But that's part of why I wouldn't throw water on Dave Parker if he was on fire.
Yeah, Dave, it's Saturday. I know you'd be excited about that.
Yeah. Well, doing something that we never do. Here's going off the road a little bit.
Well, you know, that's what we do here.
Dave isn't even playing for the Pirates. He's playing for the Oakland A's.
Okay.
Remember that?
This is later in his career.
Right. In Arlington, Ranger game. I'm at the game with my folks. I'm in high school, so I'm probably a freshman, sophomore in high school, right? We're going down the third base line. This must have been 89 because Canseco and McGuire were on the team also. Canseco and McGuire signing autographs. I mean, they got 9,000 kids around them signing autographs and all that kind of craziness. And Parker kind of breaks away from everything. And this was during batting practice, because that was back in the time you could go and watch batting practice. He's walking down the third base line, or close enough to the stands, right, but down the third base side. This little kid, I promise you, couldn't have been 10 years old. And he comes ripping past me and my folks, because we were going to our seats down there. And I could see in his hand, he had a 79 Topps Dave Parker card. I was like, all right. And he's got a pen in one hand and the card in the other. He's jetting down there. He gets down and, you know, ahead of Parker, gets down to the bottom of the deal. Mr. Parker, would you please sign this for me? The exact way he said it. Mr. Parker, would you please sign this for me? Get away from me, kid. I don't sign anything I don't get paid for. and the kid is just crushed, right? So he's doing his best, to keep his composure and all that kind of stuff. And we had already gotten to our seats at that point because we were in that section there. He come walking past us. I mean, you could just see this kid was defeated. And you could see McGuire. It wasn't that far past McGuire and Canseco. And you could see they saw it happen. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, what an ass.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, he'll get his eventually, but and my dad was like, "There's your guy." I said, "No." And granted, I was a Parker fan when I was a kid and all that kind of deal, but it wasn't like I was with Willie. And so the kid, just pure happenstance, the kid and his dad are a section over from us toward home plate. Well, once they kind of calm things down a little bit, Canseco and McGuire go over and they motion to the kid's dad to have the kid come down there. And they went down, they talked to the kid for a couple of minutes, took a couple of pictures with him and that kind of thing. And then they went in the dugout, came back out. McGuire gave him an autographed hat, and Canseco gave him an autographed bat. Fans for life, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not that tough.
At this point, though, Parker was well established. I'm not sticking up for the guy because I wasn't there, obviously, but I have a story like that myself. When I was, I don't know, I went to one of the new invitationals in Neverwood.
Mhm.
I had my Marino jersey. I got him to sign it, and I was like, I'm gonna follow Marino for a while. And I was with this. I ended up breaking off with my mom a little bit because she wanted to follow someone else, and I wanted to follow Marino. And I was with this couple that was a big card collectors, and there was a hold up on one of the holes, and I was like, "Hey, Dan, can you sign some stuff while you're just standing around?" And he's like, "I'm focusing on the game, you know, like it's a charity event." And he heard me say that, and he just started signing shit. So that was cool. Like that was cool. It took a little bit of inspiration and motivation, but finally,
Right.
like I was like, "Why ain't he signing anything? It's a charity event. It's the Lemieux Invitation."
Yeah.
So so the following or the year he went into the Hall of Fame, what was that? 05, 04?
One of those, yeah.
And he was playing again up at Nevillewood, and my mom and dad went, and they had my Pitt jersey, which I didn't know at the time when I ordered it. It was the official Pitt jersey, actual size of the uniform with shoulder pads. So I got it on eBay. It was a 52. I was like, it'll be a little big, not major. But I didn't know it was the official Pitt jersey. So it
Right.
was huge. It was huge. It's still like a damn grasshopper. But anyway, he wouldn't sign it because he said people are going to make money off it and try and sell it because I'm going into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, that would have been awesome because I had the Dolphins jersey signed, but I would have liked to have the Pitt jersey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I fully understand that. The thinking that people are gonna sell it and that kind of stuff. And that's where it not only ties into what people do with the kids, but it's also a timing thing. And adults, if a player doesn't sign for an adult, okay, you know. Um and if if even if you're polite or whatever, because a lot of times those guys have been around long enough. They can smell when somebody's trying to get it signed so they can flip it on eBay or whatever.
Right.
But a kid, that's a whole different thing, you know. And especially if the kid is polite, please and thank you, Mr. whomever, Ms. whoever. Um, you know, whatever it is. The some of the best guys I've ever seen with that stuff is NASCAR guys. And I mean, if you ever want to see somebody and he just sits there, he'll lean up against his car and he'll sign till his hand hurts. Is Jeff Gordon.
I was just,
He
I don't
I have
know.
watched him. Yeah. Him
Uh,
and Dale Jr. Him and Dale Jr. both. I watched. I had seen Sand there probably 45 minutes. Signed every autograph for a kid that asked. And signed a bunch of adult stuff too. But signed an autograph or took a picture or both with every single kid that was around his car at that point in time. The only reason why the one race, the only reason why they both went away was because they were like, guys, we got to get started. We're getting in the cars.
right. Well,
But
that's the time,
they signed forever.
right? So, so I don't know if you've been following my Facebook page or not, but there was a story that Jeff Gordon told whenever they got the new harnesses, these 6 to 7.6 point. He said sometimes he would ride around and Dale Senior would be driving with his arm on the other side. He would look over and like I don't know. Like that's just what the story I heard. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys, they do some crazy stuff. And if you ever get the chance to go to a race and get pit passes, do it. And spend the time to mosey around through the areas and all that kind of stuff. It's absolutely berserko. It some of those guys are nuts. Um, if you ever watch the races now on Fox, Clint Boyer, the way he is in the press box, that's Boyer. That's not an act. I mean, this dude is. I think he's a couple fries short of a medium order. But it's all in fun. I mean, he's just out there having a blast. Kenny Wallace was another one. I mean, always making jokes and all that kind of stuff. We were at Texas, which by the way, Eddie Gossage passed away this past week. Really good friend. He was the president of Texas Motor Speedway, good friend of mine. We worked together for a long time, and hate to hear about him passing away, but passed away at 65. And condolences to the family and the Texas Motor Speedway family. But we're all Texas Motor Speedway,
Coming up,
and
man.
we're doing the drivers meeting, right? And Kenny Wallace, he comes walking over and he just slams, I mean, slams into Michael Waltrip, like mosh pit slam into Michael Waltrip, right? Then he goes charging over behind me and goes, come on, come on. I dare you. You can't get to me. Kenny Wallace is about 5'6" and a buck 60, buck 80. Michael Waltrip's 6'5". And I'm standing in between the two of them, and of course he's doing the whole thing, like the little bitty puppy dog that's like, come on, come on, come on, come on. That kind of jazz, those guys are crazy.
They drive a 200-mile-an-hour car and only do left-hand turns.
They don't only do left-hand turns.
Well, they used to. Now,
Well,
occasionally we get. They're born to be.
they do more. They've always done road courses. They've always done Sonoma, and they've always done Watkins Glen. They've done those since the 70s. Now they do Circuit of the Americas in Austin. Now they do that road course through Chicago, which I thought was kind of cool. The one I don't like is that Roval that they do in Charlotte. You're partially on the track and then you're partially on a road course, and it's like, no. But those guys, it all comes full circle though, because I don't care if you're a NASCAR driver, a basketball player, a football player, a baseball player, or whatever. You got to know who signed your paycheck. And you can say it's the owner all you want, but it's the people sitting in those seats.
Right.
And especially the kids, because they're the ones that are forcing their parents to buy the hat or the jersey or the bobblehead or whatever it is or the baseball card for birthday, Christmas, whatever.
Right.
So that makes a big difference, I think, anyway.
Okay. We've done the NASCAR.
We have.
And the All-Star race was pretty cool. I didn't get to see
Yeah.
any of the pit crew stuff or anything. I did listen to the race on the radio. Good race. Um, Nothing really unexpected, They just kind of got out there, ran it. Um, there was
I
no
think it was like,
there was no real
I,
drama, but it was the All-Star game,
well,
except for
I
McDowell
think
going
it was,
on the second lap. I think.
I think it was one of those cases. Joey Logano's car, as much as I'm not a Joey Logano fan by any stretch, Joey Logano's car was just that good. And everybody else was unless something happened to that car, he was going to win that race. I mean, he led 199 of the 200 laps. Um, he was going to win that race. So, everybody's playing for second, so you're not being as aggressive and all that kind of deal because it's a winner take all. There's no points on the line or anything like that. If it would have been really competitive and changing leaders and all that kind of good stuff like they did last year, then you would have seen a more exciting race, I think. But, yeah, I mean, North Wilkesboro is one of those tracks you beat, bang, all that kind of good stuff. You can run 3 wide, but you still bounce off the wall, bounce off each other, all that kind of thing. But you're not going to be as aggressive trying to win that $1,000,000 when you got one car that's head and shoulders better than everybody else for
I
whatever
thought
reason.
I thought the most challenging part of the race was passing the cars on the end because they were more interested in not getting a lap down than they were letting them get by.
Right, because they were expecting cautions. I mean, there was two two cautions outside of the mandatories. The one for Ricky Stenhouse, and then
And
there
then
was another one.
McDowell went out too, right? Michael
Say
McDowell
again.
went out. But didn't Michael
He,
McDowell go out in like the second lap or something? There was
well,
that early.
yeah, he ended up coming back though.
Oh, I didn't. I thought they rolled him out.
No, he did. He didn't end up. He ended up finishing like 13th, 14th, something like that.
Oh, well,
But
um,
or no, 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 no. William Byron's the one I think you're thinking of because he was like 14 laps down.
maybe it was.
Because I know it was right around the halfway point whenever he had an issue, and next thing you know, he's 12 laps down. 12, and then it just got worse from there. But the track is 5/8 of a mile, so I mean it's not that tough to be a lap down.
Right. Um. Yeah. Other than that, I thought it went well. I think I even
Mm-hmm.
was in green on FanDuel at the end of the day.
See, I wasn't. I was not in the green on DraftKings at all. Byron being 12 laps down hurt me bad. Um,
ran
Chase
Ves-
Elliott was not good.
I ranked Kozlowski this week, and I never do that.
I never take Keselowski.
But I don't know, just something about the day. I think he finished sixth. He had a good finish.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it just so happened that the top like 4 or 5 guys I never take. The first, if I remember right, the first place guy that I had was Larson, who ended up what 5th or 6th, something like that.
let me
And
log on. I'll look real quick. I guess I could log on to NASCAR.
yeah, here we go. Yeah, Larson was 4th. It was Logano, Hamlin, Busher, Larson, Blaney. And then Bubba Wallace, Chastain, Elliott. McDowell ended up ninth.
Okay.
Uh,
Who went
Kurt
out early?
Busch, Gregson.
Went out early.
I'm
Who went
sorry?
out? Someone went out on like the first, second lap. That's not
That
how.
was Ricky Stenhouse, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Byron got into an issue. He had something happen, and then he just was a ton of laps down. He finished 19th. I had him. AJ Allmendinger finished 18th. I had him. So, my out of my six guys, I had two of the three guys at the very end of the list. And my best driver was fourth. So I wasn't going to be anywhere within spitting distance of the green at all.
I had Larson. If my computer will ever load. I had Larson, Reddick, Blaney, Kozlowski, and Logano.
Hmm.
On Fando, I finished at 287.
Nice. Well, they give you six on DraftKings. I had Larson, Elliott, McDowell, Gregson, Byron, and Allmendinger.
Now, if you would have had Logano, Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, you would have been in good shape. At least on FanDuel,
Right.
anyway. And
Well, yeah.
you would have had to go with two very bottom cars at that point.
Yeah, I probably would have. Well, yeah, I probably would have had two on DraftKings too, because Hamlin was way up there, Larson was way up there. Busher is kind of middle of the road. Logano probably was
Finished third.
top third.
Busher finished third.
Huh?
Or no, he finished, third, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if I'd have had those four guys, I probably could have still had like a Chase Elliott and McDowell or Chase Elliott and Gregson. Um, you know.
Anyway, we're off
Yeah.
topic. We're good. It's so good at this, Rich. I love it.
We start one place and go way out of the spectrum here. By the way, for those keeping track, top of the ninth, I'm sorry, going to the bottom of the ninth, our fighting Buccos are tied 5-5 with the Giants.
Frankie James, welcome to the party. Pirates ARG, obviously, Frank, we were off target talking about NASCAR for a minute. Because we do our DFS and we do our daily fantasy and we like to talk about it, That's what we do. We get off track.
Right? Yeah. But in the bottom of the ninth, we got Kutch, Reynolds, Joe, and Sawinski.
Let's go, baby. Get it.
That's exactly. That sounds like a walk-off right there.
McCutcheon's been hot. He's hit 4 in the last 10.
Yeah. I mean, Reynolds already has 4 ribbies tonight. So why not get a fifth one? Maybe hit another bomb and call it good.
Maybe we'll get a Connor Joe bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, this team is so up and down, Rich. Just curious.
Excuse me.
Who's gonna be the All-Star?
Who's going to be the All-Star?
If you were voting right now, would any of these guys get votes?
Oh yeah. I got your All-Star. I got your All-Star, no problem.
Obviously, we can't vote for pitchers because that's hand selected.
Well, but you have to have an All-Star. It doesn't say a position player.
I mean, our All-Star pitches tomorrow at 12:35. I feel.
Jones?
No, he's on. Jones got rocked around the night.
Well, everybody's going to get rocked. Skenes is not our All-Star, man. Sorry, he ain't been up long enough.
He has another game like he did last week. He will. He's going to be in the talks.
Eh, he might be. He might be.
Think
But no, I mean, I if you had to go with a position player, good luck.
you're going with Cruz?
Either Cruz or Joe. Joe's got the best average.
Or are
He's
they
hitting
gonna
270.
send McCutcheon because he's the veteran?
I don't know, man.
I mean, there's no no set. I mean, Jared Jones has to be in the talk. If Skenes goes out and pitches tomorrow, another gem gives us 6 with zeros across the board. You got to start like figuring he's gonna be in the talks. He's unhittable.
No.
Why wouldn't you want that in the All Star game?
He's pitched 3 games.
How many games do you need?
You need at least half the season.
I think if he has another good outing, I think that he's going to be in the talks, at least talks.
I think he's in the talks, but I would be blown away if it's not Jones. I think it's a one person discussion this year. Next year it could be completely different because I mean, unlike a lot of people, I like Nick Gonzalez. I think that he could turn into a really good ball player. Um, and I'm not against G1 Bay. I don't know what you think of him, but I like him.
He's doing right the last couple games.
I mean, I think he can play. Of course, Cruz, I think can come into his own. They have the potential to have 4 or 5 all-star players on that team. Of course, Jones and Skeens being 2 of them. But I think Cruz has every drop of the potential to be an all-star. Reynolds has been an all-star. Um, Oliveris could develop into an all-star, and I think Gonzalez could develop into an all-star. And I think if I remember right, Key Brian Hayes has been an all-star. If I
Uh,
remember correctly.
I believe he was. Let me let's double check our work here. We need
We
one of
only
them.
had
We need one of them people in the background, like you had at the radio station over the wall, that would go in and be like, "Got it." No, it's only me and you. We don't have anyone behind the glass, as they say
yeah,
in radio.
a buddy of mine used to always say on the air when we were doing high school football, if I only had a magic box, that could give me this information, which of course he meant a computer. Um, yeah, he's actually a 2-time all-star, it looks like. Is that right?
Hold on. Apparently, I'm not the quickest typer in the world.
I'm gonna say 2 time. That can't be right.
No, last year we had Mitch Keller and David Bedar. Bedar in 22. Adam Frazier
And
and Brian Reynolds in 21. 2020,
and
obviously, COVID canceled it.
you might be able to say Keller. I mean, I would go Jones before Keller, but you could put Keller back out there.
Good. We're not the coaches. The coaches make that decision, right? Not the fans.
Right. The coaches make the pitchers, but I, I'm just saying, you could argue, Keller's 5-3 with a 384. He's got in 61 innings, he's got 54 strikeouts. Jones is 3-4 with a 305, so he's got a worse record but a better ERA. He's got more strikeouts and a little bit better whip, but he's given up 10 bombs compared to 6. Looking at the numbers, you could go Jones or Keller, I think, and you'd say, yeah, that's the right answer.
I live in optimism.
I will be the first one to admit, yes, you were right. I will say it on worldwide waves. that you were right if Skenes gets picked as our all-star.
Oh, you never know. I mean, we might have one of those years where we get two pitchers like we did last year, Keller and Bednar.
Yeah, but we're not getting a reliever this time.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, I'm sitting here trying to think, when was the last time a team had two starters make the all-star team?
I have no idea.
Maybe the Mets when they had Scherzer and Verlander? Something like that?
How would I even word that?
Um I don't know. I'm trying to do like teammates pitching on same all-star team. Um Yeah, I know it doesn't happen very often. But
Is Ella Cruz going to top Ricky Henderson?
is who?
He's Ella Cruz. He's at
I
30
don't
right.
think I don't think he does this year, but I think he breaks 100.
Oh no,
And he'd only be the
I meant overall in a career.
in a career.
Is this going to be the guy that breaks the record?
I mean, it could be if he plays long enough. I mean, Ricky's got a ton of stolen bases, man.
Right? 943, I think.
No, didn't he break 1,000? He's got he's got 1,406.
We have a long way to go.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he would have to average 100 a year for the next 12 years to do that. I don't know. I don't know that Dela Cruz is going to play that long. To be perfectly honest, as much talent as the kid has, I would be zero surprised if we end up, he plays 10 years and he's made some ungodly number of dollars and decides, yeah, I think I'm good. And puts up a borderline Hall of Fame career and decides, yeah, I'm good. And just walks away. Because the kid has got freak talent. I mean, he and O'Neal Cruz. I mean, those two guys could be the number 1 and 2 shortstops in baseball for a long time if they live up to their potential.
Could be. I mean, they're following some great talent out there. Turner, Seager.
Yeah.
Even Willie Adames is starting to get into the picture.
Well, Adames is getting better, but he's not to that level. Seager's not young. Huh?
No, but he's got two World Series MVPs. That's something to talk about.
It is. It is. I mean, is Seager, as much as I love me some Corey Seager. I mean, when the Rangers, when Simeon and Seager both were going to be free agents, I preached from the second I knew they were going to be free agents. The Rangers needed to get them. Anybody that would listen to me, I told them they need to get these guys. If they get these guys, it makes a difference. I don't care what it costs, but it's going to cost a ton. But I don't care what it costs. They got to do it. And we got lucky and signed them both. Seager's actually 30. So, in fact, if I remember right, his contract ends when he's 37. But I mean, already he's got 1,062 hits. I gotta look at his homers. 177 homers, 290 batting average, 560 RBI, 593 runs scored. So, I mean, he's on pace. He's played. This is his 10th season. So, if he's at,
He's only averaging over
11,
50 season.
yeah. I mean, if he finishes, if he finishes a little over 2,000 hits, he'll probably have like 400 or 500 doubles because he's already got almost 250. He'll have close to 500 doubles. He'll have close to 400 homers. And if he finishes career with a 290, 300 batting average, okay. And twice he's finished in the top 3 of MVP. Finished second last year, finished third 3 years ago.
That's talks. He's got 2 MVPs in the World Series, and that talks pretty loud itself. But obviously,
Right.
we know that winning the award for MVP in the big game does not always get you into the Hall of Fame.
No, but when that's the cherry on top, because like I say, he's been in the top 3 twice for a regular season MVP. And if he has 400 bombs, and if he hits 300, and if he does all these other things, and has the 2 World Series MVPs, and you never know, he may end up with a third one before it's all said and done. Seager could be an MVP candidate or a Hall of Fame candidate.
He's one of my favorite players, so of course I'm always going to want to see him go.
Right. But he's got 3 silver sluggers, by the way.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Him and Trey Turner, Rafael Furcal. I don't know. Shortstop's always been my thing, starting with Jay Bell, I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is how many of these shortstops that we thought were going to be so good and have such a just lights out career, whether it's because of injury or they just flame out, don't live up to expectations. Troy Tulowitzki because he couldn't stay healthy. Trey Turner can't stay healthy. Trevor Story. The minute he left Colorado, he's been on the injured list since he left Colorado.
Yeah, we don't have to talk to our Boston people about that. They know. They know it all too well.
And I mean, it's just really crazy that you get guys like that who have all the. I mean, and that's just 3 of them. I mean, there's a lot of other guys to talk about with that too that have had that happen, and it's a shame.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care what position it is. I hate to see it whenever, Steven Strasburg, Mark Pryor, what kind of talent was Strasburg? As much as I can't stand the guy personally, Todd Van Poppel, that came out of Arlington, Texas, that I played against in high school, blew his arm out with the Oakland A's, had all the talent in the world, was going to be a really good major league pitcher until the A's brought him up 3 weeks out of high school and blew his arm up.
I think I have his rookie card somewhere. I'd have to find it, but I'm pretty sure I have it downstairs somewhere.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, his only 2 losses his junior year of high school were to my high school.
Did you get a hit off him?
1.
And that's something you'll remember forever. You
I
got
was
a hit.
never a big fan of his.
Is that because it was a rival school?
No. It for those folks listening that haven't heard the Tommy Maddox story. Tommy Maddox was that big-headed guy. We talked. I believe we talked about this. I played against him in school all the way through Pee Wee ball and all that kind of thing. And he was just an arrogant SOB the whole time. And I took great joy in watching us just destroy him in football and things like that. I'm the same way with Van Poppel. I mean, people know you're good. We get it. You don't have to be there's 1,000% butthead about everything. I'm keeping it clean because it's a family show. But
We have explicit. We have explicit. You're allowed. I won't yell at
well, but
you.
it's just
If you got to get it off your chest, you do that, George Carlin. 7 words you can't say on TV. Now it's up to 12.
ah. Well,
But we might have
all I know is, if you're good at that level, if you're good, people know it.
just to let you know, Red
I
turned into a nightmare in extra innings. It's a 9-5 San Francisco.
Oh, jeez. That's nice.
Horrible.
Let me guess, the bullpen, someone out there can just completely spit the bit.
I am trying to look, and my phone doesn't want me to get pissed off, so it's frozen on me where I can't click on the actual scoreboard.
I got it. So there's 2 outs in the top of the 10th. Let's see. Scoring summary. Here we go. A single to right scores a run. A single to center scores a run. A sac fly to center scores a run. And a single to right scores a run. Well, ain't that special?
The Ghost Runner scored the game winning run right now.
Do what?
The Ghost Runner. The guy I'm talking.
Got it.
Don't they call him the Ghost Runner?
Yeah. I don't know why they call it a ghost runner whenever it's a real person.
Yeah, I never understood that either, but I know that that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So my phone is not letting me click on any baseball games right now.
Ledzinski has been pitching.
Might as well put in Jack by now.
Well, him and his 12.27 ERA, and I'm not kidding. 12.27 ERA. Ay, Paloy. It makes my brain hurt.
Right, we even had a grand slam.
Mm-hmm. But we've also walked 8 guys. Jones walked 3, Chapman walked 3, and Ledzinski walked 2.
Wow. Wait till you see this Uno Cruz throwing here, Rich. I don't know if you saw it yet.
I haven't.
Talk about lackadaisical. Holy cow. Tried sidearming it and just threw it.
Well, one thing about O'Neill, and it's kind of scary actually. It reminds me of Sean Dunston, the shortstop for the Cubs back in the 80s and early 90s.
Oh, I know. Sean Dunston.
If Cruz can just throw normal, he's fine. But if he has to take something off of it, take a little bit off the fastball, everybody on the first base side better duck because you don't know where it's going. But if he throws normal speed, he throws that 95-mile-an-hour ball across the field, he's fine. But I saw him do that the other night. He made a play right behind the pitcher's mound, and he had to kind of slow it up. Otherwise, he was going to rip the lacings out of the first baseman's mitt and threw it square in the dirt. He almost could have handed it to the first baseman. Threw it square in the dirt.
Wow.
Thank
I don't even
goodness. Thank goodness Joe plays a solid first base.
they called that a strike. Wow. That was like a Bryce Harper strike right there.
He hit a bomb too, by the way, tonight.
I heard it was late. I know that.
Yeah. They beat the Rangers 11-2. Not a good night for the for our Southern heroes. They were pretty bad tonight. 11-4. I'm sorry, my mistake. My question is,
okay,
because he hit another one tonight. Who in the heck woke up Marcell Ozuna about a year and a half ago?
Dude, Marcell Ozuna is third in the league in home runs right now.
That's what I'm saying. For the last year and a half, Marcell Ozuna has been a top player in the game. Where in the world did this come from?
I think it's batting behind Matt Olson. He's finally getting pitches. You got to remember, on a lot of the teams he was on before this, he was like mainly their high guy.
I mean, when he was in St. Louis, he had Goldie.
Yeah, but it just seemed like everyone pitched around them too. Because there was no one else.
I don't know, but I mean, this guy has been.
You look at this Atlanta team. Unfortunately, you have to pick and choose who you're going to battle with.
You're right.
And speaking of Atlanta, they're going to be playing our Buccos this weekend.
They are.
And
they are.
I guess we didn't hear anything back from your guy. Come on.
Well, you ready for this one? Remember I told you I had a guy and a gal?
I do. That's why I was so excited.
They just happen to be married. They just happen to be married.
And they're going through divorce now?
No, she had a baby Tuesday of last week. Or no, Thursday of last week, because it was the day after we recorded.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
So yeah, so that kind of puts a monkey wrench into.
Okay, you guys on a podcast to get away from the baby for a little bit.
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work.
But it's like congratulations, good job. Welcome to the new world, little dude, little girl. I don't know what you are, but it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe whenever we play them again later in the year, maybe we'll get them. Come on.
Yeah, I will do my best. But Ozuna's. It's not just that he's hitting 14 bombs and 43 RBI right now. He's hitting 3 1/4. I mean, he's hitting for average.
This is not letting me see anything. Not letting me punch anything. I might start punching stuff.
I think his career average is like 250 or something like that.
Ozuna?
Yeah. Let me see. Stats. His career batting average is 271. He's hitting 50 points higher than his career average this season.
He's batting 325, 14 bombs, 43 RBIs, 54 hits.
And has walked 22 times.
And on top of
his
that,
OPS is 1038, man.
On top of that, Rich, we were just talking about Corey Seager only being 30. Ozuna's 33.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
what I'm saying. He's in his 12th year. He's on pace to hit more home runs than he's ever hit. He hit 40 last year and drove in 100. 40 last year was his career high. He drove in 124 in 2017. He's on pace to pretty well blow both of those out of the water.
that's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, he was good before, but nothing like, man. And it could be. I mean, you look at that lineup. I mean, good luck to the Buccos this weekend.
He's got
I mean,
13 hits in the regular
say
season.
again.
He's got 1,386 hits.
Yeah.
So if we're only playing 2 more years in Seager, he's got 300 more hits.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're comparing old heads to old heads here playing
I
baseball,
mean, you got Acuna at the top who isn't performing very well, right? He hasn't been performing very well all season.
no, that's because he's on my
But you
fantasy.
got Acuna, you got Ozuna, you got Harris, you got Olson, you got Albies, you got Riley's been hurt for a while.
Yeah,
It's like,
I
good.
think he's back now though. Let me
Did he
check.
finally come back?
He is my third baseman. Let me check. He's still day to day.
Aren't we all?
Riley is hitting off the tee on Wednesday, so he hit off the tee this morning.
Gotcha. Well,
Slow steps. Slow steps.
yeah. But
You know,
going back to what we, huh?
ever since we did our Rocky show with Susie, that team has been.
Mhm.
Maybe we lit the fire under the wrong team.
Maybe so. Maybe
That
so.
team has been hot, especially
It
Tober.
really has. Hmm.
Fire. He had 66 Fanduel points left.
Well, Gomber was the starter against Jared Jones in that nothing that ended up being a 1-0 game, 10 or 11 innings on that
Right.
Saturday.
Right. And then
Yeah.
Quantel went 60 the next day, and then he went 40-40 since then on Fanduel points. I don't know the record. I don't know the stats, but I know 40 Fanduel points and 60 Fanduel points. You had a hell of a game.
Yes.
I don't know the
Oh
stats
yeah.
off my head, guys.
Yeah. I mean, you rack up 40. That's like racking up 30 in DraftKings.
Right.
You don't do that very often.
No. Like I said, Tolliver was worth 66 last night. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
If you had Quintrell and Tolliver last night, you had 104 points just between those two guys,
Man.
and it could have been done because Quintrell is only 8,500.
Yeah.
That's just back to fantasy, Rich. I mean, it feels like we're doing like a fantasy show here.
I've done those before. Jeff Erickson from RotoWire.
Okay.
I used to do a show. When I was in Memphis, I did a show. This was in 09, and he was just starting RotoWire back then.
Is he the one that
And
does
he came on.
at like 9 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Is
But
that
yeah,
him?
yeah, that's him on Sirius XM.
No, he does a full YouTube skit for like 2 hours, going over all the plays. I don't know if that's him
Oh,
or
well, yeah, Jeff Erickson from RotoWire. Yeah. Yeah,
I
because
think
he also does a shift on Sirius XM every day.
really
Mm-hmm.
amazing how much this shit blows up.
Yeah. Well, he used to be one of the guys that ran the World Championships of Fantasy Football. And We
Speaking of
had
that,
him. He did the show with me through the whole football season, and
so
before the
you
season started, huh?
you should have won the championship that year.
I actually did. We
See, like
went. He invited me out there, and he said, "Hey, I want you to be in this in this World Championships. It's like the World Series of Poker, man. I mean, it was $5,000 a seat." I'm like, okay. So we'll fly you out here, all this kind of okay.
yeah.
Get to the air,
Did
I
you have
get
to buy?
off. Huh?
Did you have to pay for it yourself, or did they pay for it? They paid for it.
They paid for it. I get to Vegas, I step off the plane, first and only time in my life. I get off the plane, there's a dude standing there with a little placard that says Richardson.
And you're in the back seat of a limo or a really nice
I
car.
was. The thing was at the MGM. So this guy says, "I'll take your bags." And I'm like,
This is
okay.
good, but okay.
We walk out, gold limo, because the MGM has those gold limos, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking around. I'm going, what in the world is going on here? So, you know, I get there the night before the draft, veg out in the casino, all that kind of good stuff, beforehand. Get in the draft room, and I mean, you got everybody there. Eric Casillas was in there. Matthew Berry was in there. There was just uku's of people in there. And I did my show from out there. The draft was on Saturday. I was doing my show on Sunday, and I flew out Monday morning. So, needless to say, I had plenty of people to jump onto my show Sunday morning. But we get out there. It's a 20 person league, 12 teams, and no trades, no free agency.
So it's
You play
basketball.
who you got.
It's basketball.
No, you can move your guys,
Oh,
but
it
you
was.
actually had a starting lineup with quarterbacks and all that good stuff, right? So somewhere I'll have to find it. Somewhere I have the draft card from that draft. In fact,
I was gonna say that might be something you keep handy, like real close.
it might be, but it's not. Well, hold on. I'll have to find it for when we do fantasy football. But I still have it. But that was the year that Steve Slayton went off, running back for the Texans out of West Virginia. He went off and all this other stuff, right? And I'm getting these guys that I'm thinking, okay, I'm in decent shape. I had Derek Mason. Trying to remember who my quarterbacks were,
Was
but
that with the Ravens or was that with
Mason was with the Ravens, yeah.
or
And we got down to the, huh?
or so? Okay, go ahead.
So we're all in this room, and there's like 200 people in there, maybe 400, and each league, their winner won $5,000 and moved on to the grand championship of all. It was all the league champions played the last 2 weeks. Winner of that whole thing won $500,000 bucks.
Not bad.
Not bad. So I'm tied for first going into the last night or the last week. Tied for first. The guy I play against is done before Monday night, and he's got me by 7 points. The only guy I got left is Derek Mason.
All you
And I'm
need is
like, great. Ravens are playing the Steelers.
This
And
is a
I'm going, this is a problem.
This is a platinum.
So where you get to halftime, Mason has one catch for 2 yards.
Oh, Jesus.
And
At
I'm
this,
going,
you're
this
like,
can't happen.
or do I want to win? Or
Yeah,
do I
I'm
want?
like, this can't. I don't need a touchdown. I just need him to catch a couple of balls for about 30 yards, and I can call it good. So, first play, right out of shoot in the second half, little crossing route, picks up like 8 yards. So I'm watching, as this thing gets closer, right? We get to the end of the third quarter, and he catches a ball for about 30 yards. I end up winning the thing by like 4 points by the time it's all said and done. But so I won the league I was in, then got into that grand championship thing and got absolutely throttled. It
Amazing.
wasn't
Like,
funny.
you played all those guys, the same guys, just now they're on a different platform. And
Yeah.
you saying you got throttled, which is kind of weird, but
Well, if I remember the way it laid out, the one team, I'm trying to remember which team it was, they clinched their division super
the
fast.
sitting
And
mode.
they sat guys. Yeah, they sat guys. And it was like a couple of my starters, a couple of my big starters, and they were sitting. So I'm using, you know, this guy, that guy. I had oh crud.
You're trying to figure out what to do, and you can't pick up anybody.
Right. And this was 15 years ago, so I'm trying to remember my team.
So we didn't
But
have really quick internet yet.
right. I had
Might
Breeze. Now that I'm thinking about it, I had Breeze and I had Colston.
might not even be
Marcus Colston.
phone by now. And stats even.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you had some of the stuff, but nothing like what you got now. I mean, and you sure as heck didn't have a whole network of fantasy sports analysts and all that kind of stuff and
What do
YouTube
we have?
videos of
What do we have? Yahoo had what? Eric Carabell. He was a big one.
yeah. And
Obviously, that one
oh
guy you
shoot.
mentioned,
Matthew Berry was the big one with ESPN and Eric Casilius.
Carabell was Yahoo.
Carabel was Yahoo.
ESPN was Matthew Berry. Those are the two ones. Those are the two main ones that everyone followed, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, because those were the two big engines that everybody ran their leagues through.
Right. Now we
Um,
got Sleeper Dynasties. Sleeper really took me by surprise. I was like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, now I'm in 3 dynasties and I have no idea what the hell's going on. And,
yeah. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine hit me up the other day that he wants me to do a dynasty league with them this year. They're going to start a dynasty league.
go for it, man. It's fun.
Sure, why not? Why not? I'm in one. It's not a big deal. We all throw $5 in a hat.
I'm
Um,
trying to get all the
so not
same
a big deal.
players on my team so I can root and not be ready to kill myself. That's the
Well,
hardest
I
rooting
huh?
against your team. That's the hardest thing, doing multiple leagues. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, you got AJ Brown, and you don't have AJ Brown in the other league, but the guy you're playing has AJ Brown. So now you're like,
Yep.
and you're like, shit.
Well, I know there's one thing that I was gonna do last year, and I just didn't have the time to do it. But I want to do it this year, and I'm not sure how I'm going to put it together. So I'm open to suggestions from you, the listeners, whoever. But I wanted to do a charity league. Okay,
Okay.
do either a 10 or 12 person league. Costs $20 to get in. So there's a $200 pool. Okay, winner of the league gets the prize pool, which would be the whole 200, to go to their favorite charity.
I better find a charity. I don't have a charity yet, Rich.
Well, but
What about
I
up in Cleveland? Could use some help with the Humane Society up there.
yeah, I mean, it could be the Humane Society, it could be St. Jude, it could be a food bank, it could be whatever, the Salvation Army or the Red Cross or whatever. But you know, it's an idea. I wasn't sure, even if it would get enough response to have to do it.
Bring it up in the
But
group. Bring it up in the group chat tomorrow. Our group. See if we can do a driving to the top charity fantasy football league.
there you go.
You bring it up. I'm not. Sometimes. Yeah, you bring it up. Yeah, you do it. I'll just sit back and go. Yeah, we're in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can run it and I'll commissioner it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's not a big deal, but
Yeah, let's
you know,
put it in the group chat tomorrow and see who bites.
sounds like a plan.
And so it was the final 9-5.
Yeah, I believe so. Let me double check. Uh, well, it was 9-5. So, and I think tomorrow they play in the afternoon, don't they? Yeah,
Yeah, 12:35.
12:35.
Who's on the hill tomorrow, Rich?
Our
Yes, who's
boy
on
Skenes.
all skenes. Matinee for lunch, skipping out to see Paul. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. Thought about it. Thought about playing hooky.
Taking on Mason Black, 0-1 with a 7.71 ERA
Nice.
and a 2 WHIP.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, I know we're an hour into this thing, and I wanted to kind of try and come back around to what we talked about originally.
Okay.
You've seen the list of who's in the Pirates Hall of Fame, right?
Um,
Okay.
my phone.
There's 23 names.
Paul Winter, John
Some
Winter.
Well, yeah, you've got Jake Beckley, Hannes Wagner, Fred Clark, Max Carey, Paul Wainer, Lloyd Wainer, Oscar Charleston, Pie Trainer, Buck Leonard, Josh Gibson, Archie Vaughn, Ray Brown, Ralph Kiner, Bill Mazeroski, Danny Murtaugh, Roberto Clemente, Bob Friend, Dave Parker, Steve Blass, Willie Stargell, Dick Groat, Kent Tekulve, and Elroy Face.
Okay.
So my question to you would be, and of course, going in this year, Leland Bonds and Manny Sanguian.
Right.
Who is not in that you think should be in? I've got 5 names.
I'm gonna say Vernon Law would be one.
He's one of the ones on my list.
Um. I don't know. You didn't prepare me for this question.
Sorry. Figure out spring onion, see what happens.
Well, I know Vernon Law is one of them for sure.
Right.
I'm not real sure. I mean, Honest Wagner is probably my favorite Pirate by far. I obviously have the coaching jersey behind me, and even if I found a PBC shirt, it could be anyone because they didn't have numbers till 1933, I think.
Right.
And
Can I throw let me throw 4 names at you and see if you think yay or nay.
Okay.
How about Chuck Tanner?
Obviously, I'm gonna say, why isn't he in there?
That's one of the things I was thinking. A lot of people ask why Vern Law isn't in there.
I looked through this list like 4 times. I thought Chucky Tanner was in this.
Nope.
Like, he should have just been in there. Like, I didn't even dawn on me that he wasn't in there.
Right. So I mean, so you're with me. He should be in there.
Oh, for sure. One of the
Okay.
best
How
I've
about one of the other greatest outfielder first baseman combos there was? Scoop, Al Oliver.
See, I never saw him play, Rich, so I don't know. I mean, I know his stats speak numbers. Um, I think eventually he's gonna get in.
I hope
In the,
so. Scoop is one of the most underrated players I ever saw. And he went the funny part is he went from the Pirates to the Rangers. And I got to see him play in Arlington for like 4 years. What about Bill Madlock?
I was thinking Bill Badlock. It just ran through my head as well, and Phil Gardner ran through my head.
Garner's another one. I didn't even think about him.
He's close. I don't know if he's fully in, but he's close. I mean,
And the
obviously,
last one yeah,
got
the last one I had was Candelaria.
he's part of the triple header no hitter, right?
Huh?
Or the relief no hitter.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why ain't Doug Dre back in there?
Yeah,
Start going with pitchers, or
yeah.
even Jose Mesa being he led the league in saves that year. Still holds the record, I think, with the Pirates, 46, right? Didn't Mesa do 46 in that year this year?
I don't think it was Jose Mesa, was it?
It was
That was what 91.
Jose Mesa. No, I worked at the stadium, so it had to be like 2001 to 2004, 2005.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Dre. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking Drebeck's time. My bad.
No, I
Yeah,
mean I don't know if you put that as club Hall of Fame numbers because he pitched for the.
yeah. Right.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you're doing Bonds in there at 192 whenever he left. You know,
Do you put Bonilla in or Van Slyke for that matter?
see, there's gonna be there's always that topic for debate, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, Van Slyke was one of probably the best center fielder in the game at that time.
Right. And then it gets into the situation of okay, did he do it long enough and that kind of stuff. But I mean, in my eyes, Vern Law and Chuck Tanner and Drebeck are no brainers. I can't believe I didn't think about Drebeck. Those three are no brainers.
I mean, maybe that would be next.
Madlock, you could make a really valid case for.
Or what about the
The
guys?
batting titles. What about what?
We're gonna stick with pitchers. What about Tim Wakefield?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you just remember, and I mean that knuckleball was unhittable. If it
Right.
wasn't for him giving us his, I mean, I granted we lost, but he served that well in the playoff run.
Yeah. You're right.
Could you imagine this conversation in Atlanta? Who's left out of there?
Oh. Yeah, but their Hall of Fame, but see, they've done it the right way. The Pirates have. I'd have to look at what the Braves Hall of Fame looks like.
Right. We've done what, three at a time, but we started it really, really, really late.
We did, but look at it. I mean, it's an exclusive group. I mean, as much as I really loved Omar Moreno, he's not Hall of Fame worthy. You know, a guy like Spanky Lavalier, who did a lot for this team. No, but you know, a lot of this Hall of Fame stuff, it becomes the Hall of Very Good, and you throw guys in there that don't necessarily need to be in there.
Right.
That's why I just look at it. You know, of the 26 guys that they have in there, the 23 that are in, the three that are going in this year, I cannot make an argument for any of them that's negative.
Right. I don't know much about, I didn't pay much attention in class during the 40s where Pie Trainer and all them guys played. I don't know much about that era. It was never like the Wayner brothers played in that era. Pie Trainer played. I can tell you the guys that played in that era, and I know nothing about them. Now, my dad always said he wasn't sure why they were in there. A couple of them. Now, my dad might have watched this team a little bit closer than us, and he's a little bit older too.
Well, my dad was the same way. My dad watched the team, you know, and even some of these guys were older than my dad because my dad was born in 46. But from the stories that he got from his dad and from his grandfather, um, Pie Trainer, one of the best all around players in the history of the game, from everything that I have ever read.
That's me too.
Um,
No, he
you
wasn't
know,
complaining about my train. I
I've
understand.
heard people say Pie Trainer was Brooks Robinson before Brooks Robinson was Brooks Robinson.
Right, right. I've heard that explanation too.
Um,
But yeah, I can't. Looking at the names, you can't really say anything bad about them. You're right.
yeah. I mean, it's not like you go, well, you know, maybe I don't know if he really deserves to go in.
Like I don't know nothing
And
about. I don't know nothing about Jake Beckley. I've heard Fred Clark, Max Carey. I've heard his name, but I don't know any stats. I can't sit there and go. I don't know shit about him. You know.
yeah, well, I mean, there's a little bit that I know about a lot of these guys. There's a lot I know about a lot of guys. There's a little bit I know about a lot of guys. Jake Beckley's one of those I know a little bit about. I know he hit over 300 for his career. I know he had almost 3,000 hits. I think he had like 2,900. I know he played before 1900. His whole career was like at the very beginning of baseball. Um, and you know that's kind of where things start and finish with that. But I mean, heck, if the guy if he was looking down the barrel of 3,000 hits, that right there is enough for me.
I mean, some people even question Bill Mazeroski.
I don't understand how.
I don't either.
I really don't. And I'm not saying that because I'm related to the man. I don't
But,
understand.
but all you hear about is the big hit.
Oh well, yeah, that's the most famous thing that he ever did.
But you
But
don't know
you
much about it.
know,
That's the bad thing. Like you talk to people and you never hear them really say, "Oh, Bill played a great second base. Bill did this. Bill did that." You never hear that. If even when even like when I'm talking to older folks, you never hear that, and that kind of scares me a little bit. And I don't,
well,
and I don't take anything away from the guy. Like I said, I wasn't there for it. I don't know anything about it. I know what I
right.
saw on film, and all you really ever heard about Bill Mazeroski was the big hit.
Yeah. Well, him and my mother are cousins, and he from everything that I've seen and what I have heard,
You met him,
he won 8 gold gloves. I mean, okay. You win 8 gold gloves, you done something right.
right?
He was an all-star 7 times. Okay, to be a Pirate Hall of Famer, 7 all-star games, 8 gold gloves, that gets you into the Pirates Hall. Now, it's arguable to the Major League Hall of Fame because of the other numbers. Because I mean, he barely had 2,000 hits. He didn't even drive in 1,000 runs. He only hit like
Pirate
260.
Hall of Famer for sure.
But to be in the Pirates Hall of Fame,
That's
and
perfect.
then of course the most famous home run in the history of the team.
Probably the most famous home run around the world.
Possible.
Well, I mean, you beat the
I'm
Yankees.
sure there. I'm sure there's Dodgers fans that would argue that point. But
I mean, the Pirates took it so far that when the Yankees were here, they had a Bill Mazeroski figurine.
mm-hmm.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. I mean, like I said, I wasn't there. I can read all the stuff, and
Right.
like I said, I never. I heard he was a great guy off the field. I heard that. I don't, I mean, I've heard numerous people say that,
Yeah, I have too.
so I don't really know him. I mean, have you met him being related?
Yes. Had the pleasure. Yes. And was super cool. I was probably 18, 19, somewhere in that ballpark. So I definitely knew who he was. you know, and anybody that pays attention to southwestern Pennsylvania knows that a ton of well known major leaguers have come out of either southwestern Pennsylvania or West Virginia, and he's one of them. He came out of Wheeling. He was born in Wheeling, but yeah, I mean, he was a super nice guy. Um, just a guy, didn't expect to get treated any better than anybody else, or well, I did this, or I no, no.
I just remember talking to Chuck Tanner, and like he put you in the room. That was a speaker. In my eyes, that's a speaker. Someone that can take you away and put you in whatever, the dugout, the locker room, anyone that can put you in the story and make it feel like you're in the actual like reenactment. That is that just blows me away when you have that kind
Mm,
of skill. And that's not a skill that many people have.
no, no. Being able to paint a picture, and having been in radio as long as I have, and that's the one thing they tell you in sports, but in general, is to paint that picture and to make the people that are listening, whether you're doing video or whether you're doing audio, but you got to paint that picture and make people feel like they're sitting right there next to you. That's hard, man. People
And
think it's easy.
that's why we've had, I feel, some of the best broadcasters in the business in
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
no question.
In
No
Pittsburgh.
question.
Like we started with Bob Prince,
Mhm.
can of corn. And then that led into some Lanny for Terry from for 34 plus years for 30 plus years. I think it's 34, 35, something in that range.
And
And
don't forget his partner for a stretch of that time.
right, did you know that Mike Lang tried to get the Pirate gig because it was up at the same time, and Lanny Terry would have been the Penguin announcer? That would have been weird.
Mhm.
As we know it now. As we know it now.
But remember, you had Lanny and Milo Hamilton for a long time,
You did. Milo Hamilton. Then Milo,
who then became the Astros play-by-play guy for 20 something years.
and I believe he's now up in Cleveland.
Who, Milo?
No,
No, Milo passed away.
the other Hamilton's up in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that led into Greg Brown. Greg Brown is live. He's lively, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now the
It
Penguins.
took me a minute to get used to Greg Brown.
Really?
It took me a minute. It took me a minute. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lanny Fratteri was my favorite announcer of all time. I think.
Really?
I do. I do. Like I could
Okay.
text him right now and see if he'd respond. It's 10:35 though. He probably has class in the morning. I have his number like on my phone.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm
Very
gonna
cool.
try and get him on. I know he's doing the Mountaineers right now, the Mountaineer Hour right now. So he's busy, but you never know. Maybe we'll catch him on an off night and he'll want to pop on.
Hey, we got a guy that just retired that we might be able to grab hold of someday.
Grab him up.
Bill Hillgrove.
His sister used to get food at our shop all the time, and then she moved to Kennedy, so I don't have that connection anymore. I started podcasting too late whenever I realized that was my golden ticket to get Bill Hillgrove. So I need to find around.
Will always be the biggest Myron Cope fan there is. I mean, the whole this is Myron Cope. I mean, I thought it was my mom and dad hated Myron Cope because of the voice. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I have his book autographed. I have a Myron Cope microphone. I mean, it is yes, Myron was my guy. No doubt.
Here's one for you, Rich. We were playing Cleveland. I don't know if you could call your radio guy and try and find this, but it's like Spanish. But whenever they had a guy and he had an interception for us, and he's like, "Fucker intercepted it in the end zone." Because like his last name was like Butcher or something. Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Fucker intercepted on the radio." On the radio. And I can't find it anywhere, but it was hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know if you know anyone that deep that could possibly find it, but yeah.
I have a buddy of mine that I used to work with, who is a big wig with the ESPN radio affiliate in Cleveland. He may be able to help me track that down.
Yeah, it was funny.
Eric Kalin, if you're listening, call me.
But yeah, that was one of those moments where I was like, I know he just said fucker.
Yeah, I mean, Myron was so great. Oh my God, I loved listening to him. And of course, you brought up Mike Lang. I mean, come on, man. I don't care. Nobody is ever. I can't. I don't even try to come anywhere close to him. The whole thing with the Bergwins is just okay. You know, nobody can do that stuff.
No, Mike Lang isms are gonna be launched in the history forever.
Not to mention, and I've been told this by a number of people who have done numerous sports and that kind of thing at the professional level. Calling hockey is the hardest sport to call on radio. Not as difficult to call on TV, but it's super hard to call on radio.
And you got to remember, at the time he was doing it, their technology was not like it is today. Right. He had to pay attention. And who knows how much bourbon that man drank during the games, because we were really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, sometimes whenever you sip bourbon, you come up with some good shit.
In fact, I use one of Mike Lang's things when I do high school football with a tweak to it.
Right.
but it's a football night in Waco, and first time I did that, the guy that does color with me, he's like, "You had to have gotten that from somebody." I said, "Yeah." I told him. He's like, "Oh, okay."
Twist the
Then
word
I
for him,
played
man.
him some Bergwin stuff. And he's like, "Oh my god, this is what you listen to?" I said, "Absolutely."
It draws on you eventually.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh, that yeah, Rich. What do you think? Hour and 36 right now. We definitely covered everything we talked about and threw in some DFS for some people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you gonna do a best ball?
Say again.
Are you do a 20? Are you gonna do a $20 best ball millionaire on DraftKings?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably do one too. I'm probably gonna do my draft like late Friday night. Apparently, is the key. A lot of people with drinking Friday night, not really sure what they're doing. Could catch some sleepers. You know what I mean?
There you go.
That's just a thought.
I hear that Wilson guy in Pittsburgh's pretty good.
I heard Justin Fields is looking better.
Probably. I was being facetious, but yeah.
Were you talking, or maybe you were talking Roman Wilson,
No.
possible
No, I was
number two,
talking Russ.
possible number two spot that everyone keeps talking about.
That's my
this,
biggest question with
this
this team.
this is right after OTAs. Everyone's like Roman Wilson, possibly number two, and I'm like, really?
That's my biggest question with this team. Who's the number
Right,
two?
Calvin Austin.
But yeah, well, I hope you're wrong. You may be right, but I hope you're wrong.
Who are you gonna put? Vaughn Jefferson? Who knows? Maybe they're gonna put Cordello Patterson out there.
I'd almost have more faith in him.
We'll see what Smith wants to do. I mean, these are a couple of his old players, so we'll see what happens.
That is true. That is true.
What happens?
But yeah, man, we'll get in. We got lots of time to get into that kind of stuff.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And next week, we should have Brandy on next week, so that'll be cool. I'm curious to see her takes, hear her takes, and then possibly Monday we're gonna have a special day, hopefully the third. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cross my fingers on it. And you know, if Mikey wants to come back on, he's more than welcome to. Actually, that guy could tell me he wants to do a show, and I'm probably gonna drop everything because I love talking to Mikey.
Sounds great.
We'll probably like talking to him too, Rich.
Oh, I'm sure I will. If he's anything like when he does the broadcast, because I mean, I think he's an entertaining guy when he does the broadcast. So I'm sure it'll
Oh
be
yeah,
great.
I'm curious to see if he's got his studio updated yet. Before it was just a big white wall, and he's like, "I'm supposed to be hanging stuff." So I'm always curious to see what he's doing.
Gotcha.
Everyone's always making their studio, you know. I don't know. Everyone like sees mine, and they're like, "Ooh," and I'm like, literally, I went out and bought a clothes rack and a clothes rack in the back with a bat holder. Like those are real bats, real player bats behind me.
I believe you.
Jeff Ruble, like the Greg Jennett,
Well,
Jason Jennett bat was there. I don't forget Craig
see if I
Wilson's bat. Craig Wilson's bat's back there. His fungo bat.
nice.
See, whenever you become good friends with the garbage guy, you get a lot of neat shit.
There you go. Well, see, if I still had my old office, then I would do it, but I would have my Rocky Blyer screen box, or was it, is it screen box? What's it called whenever they put the picture, the jersey in the picture frame, and something box.
I don't know.
But
I call it a jersey frame, but that's what I call it.
my wife bought this for me. Gosh, it's got to be 5, 6 years ago now. Huge. I mean, Mondo, right? The jersey autographed right there on the two. Uh, Picture of him underneath signing it and all that kind of stuff. That would be what would be right behind me. And then I'd have my Willie Stargell jersey right next to it.
Well, you never know. Now that we're back to doing this, Rich, and you got a gig, maybe you get your own room here soon.
Yeah, maybe so. We'll have to figure out how to do this here at the house.
And so, I mean, like I said, I'm in my living room. Does it look like I'm in my living room?
No, not at all. Well, no.
See, I could turn
Oh
on
yeah.
the Pac-Man machine back there.
Turn on what?
I could turn on the Pac-Man machine.
There you go.
I do have that. Like before, I used to set it up where I was sideways, and then I ordered desk and shit. So now I'm like in the other corner. So that if I wanted to get everything close again, I'd have to move everything every time, and that gets a little stressful. So now I just hang the
Yeah.
jerseys behind me. I did order a little clothes rack thing for them. I had this as my laundry thing downstairs, and I was like, well, that's not going to be anymore. Like I said, I have what jersey is this? I have I have some India, some Shane Bieber jerseys, little Vaughn jerseys, 99 Wild
Ricky
Thing.
Vaughn. There
I
you
have
go.
I have an Eric Davis jersey right here.
Wow, 49ers jersey. All right. As long as you don't have any Cowboy stuff in there, we're all right.
I have one Cowboys jersey. I do. I got a Felix Jones was my favorite running back coming out of college.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just loved the way he ran. I just was like one of those name grabbers, you know. And at the time I was married, the family was from Arkansas, so that brought me a little closer into Felix Jones. And then he
Right.
got drafted by the Cowboys, and I was like, well, if I ever wanted a stupid Cowboys jersey, my guys down there that I followed in college, I might as well buy it.
Right.
And of course,
Well, yeah.
I was like, the only jersey I want to own from the Cowboys would be the Thanksgiving Day jerseys. So of course I went that route and got a Felix Jones jersey. You got to get what
Yeah.
you want.
Well, I mean, I I've never really been a Cowboys fan.
Okay.
They have had a number of guys that I really liked. And when I was little, my two
My
guys,
two guys,
well,
well,
I had three guys. Rocky
Awesome.
Blyer, LC Greenwood, and Too Tall Jones. Because I was head and shoulders taller than everybody else right out of the box.
Right.
So I mean, I joke about I came out of the womb 6'1", but I have pictures of my like 11-year-old baseball team, and I'm as tall as everyone, including the coaches, except for my dad, who was 6'5" at the time. That kind of thing. So I was always a Too Tall Jones guy.
Right. Why
You
wouldn't you
know
be?
that
You're up there.
exactly, and I had a chance to meet him a few different times and that kind of stuff, and he's always been super cool. Um, but him, how are you not a Tony Dorsett guy? If you're from Pittsburgh, how are you not a Tony Dorsett guy?
Are you buying a Pitt jersey?
And
Are you buying a
huh?
Pitt jersey? Or are you buying a Dallas jersey? You have options with Dorsett. You can buy the Pitt jersey, or you can buy the Dallas jersey.
Oh, if I'm buying a jersey, it's the Pitt jersey.
Right.
But I'm just looking at the principle of pulling for a Cowboy because I don't pull for the Cowboys.
Right.
And like I say, they've had probably half a dozen guys. Darren Woodson. I like Darren Woodson. He should be in the
Deion.
Hall of Fame,
Right.
but he plays for the Cowboys.
Deion Sanders.
I was never a big. I liked him, but I
I
was
like.
never a big prime guy. I
I
wasn't a
like.
huge TO guy either.
He played for the Falcons
Yeah, I,
because he was so young.
I wasn't. Yeah,
yeah.
but I was never the biggest TO guy either.
I
I
wasn't
have
either.
friends that thought,
I always
hmm,
wanted a fantasy team, but I was never a huge like. Oh, I got to get that jersey, or I got. I don't know. I just never did it. Never.
I always thought T.O. was overrated.
Close. I mean, he backed it up. He played the Super Bowl with a broken foot and still had a 181 and 10 catches, I think.
Yeah, I understand. And Kurt Angle won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. I understand this. Okay, I understand guys do stuff like that.
That's the funny thing. I'm not that big of a Kurt Angle fan in the WWE. Now, outside of it, I like him. He's the Pittsburgh guy. You know, I just never got into his character. It seemed to be just a
he he's
youth,
had
and that wasn't me. Like,
he's had he had pluses and minuses. I got to work with him when I was working in Illinois, and
seemed
we did it. They did a TNA show there, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, and he was in the main event. Actually, it was him and Samoa Joe in the main event,
this is
and
good now.
I was supposed to get with him at the arena to do an interview and all that kind of good stuff. And we were doing a remote to give away some tickets to the show the day before.
Okay.
And I get this phone call, 412 area code. Who's calling me from Pittsburgh? Hello?
Correct.
Rich. Yeah. It's Kurt Angle. Kurt, how are you, sir? He's like, are you at the station? I said, no, I'm actually doing a remote right now with a bunch of people giving tickets away to the show. Okay. Uh, cool. Anybody there? Yeah. Anybody there for the tickets? Yeah. Hand him the phone.
Okay.
Here. And so I handed it to the guy. I said, here, say hello. The guy's like, hello?
What?
And as soon as he said it, you could tell as soon as he said it was Kurt Angle because the guy's face lit up like a Christmas tree. Um, but I met him at the show and we talked for a while. And he said, "Yeah, I heard you were from Pittsburgh and all this kind of stuff." Yeah, yeah. We talked a little bit and talked after the show. And I mean, super good guy. I've probably talked to him 100 times. I had his cell phone number till about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not sure how I lost it, but yeah, I mean, I like Kurt,
I
character and as a guy.
I don't know. I just never got into the whole milk thing.
You had to do the milk against the beer.
I understand that. I don't hate the guy. I just was never really into his whole character, and that's like I don't know. Like I know they got to have their skits and their I know, but I don't know. Like his character just rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm probably one of the only few. But I don't know. I was never a big Kurt guy. But I like, but
I'm,
I talked to him. I saw him at the airport all the time. I talked to him. Um, it's not like I didn't know who he was, or he kind of knew who I was a little bit too. But then I don't work there anymore, and he's like, you don't see him.
yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to the wrestling, the three most well-known guys from Pittsburgh, I think anyway. Fortunately, I've had a chance to meet numerous times, and that's Bruno, of course. I mean, it starts and ends with Bruno. Let's be honest.
Right.
Hurt and Shane Douglas.
Um, who was the female on AEW?
Oh, Britt Baker.
Yeah, Baker.
Have not met. I haven't met Britt Baker.
Never met her. I haven't even heard anything about her lately. Actually,
She's hurt.
that's probably why
She
we
did
haven't heard.
something to her. She did something to her back, and she's been out for over a year. But now I've met her fiance a few times, Adam Cole,
Adam Cole, yeah.
and man, I'll tell you what, I don't get it. I mean, my daughters are bigger than him, and they aren't that big. I mean, I promise you, my daughter.
But does that make?
Those of you that were a part of last week's show met my grandson Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Jackson's mommy. is like 5'9", you know. Adam Cole ain't 5'7". I mean, he'd
Bigger.
have to have lifts in his shoes to get to 5'7". He's got a gimmick. I mean, the whole, Adam Cole baby and the Undisputed Era and all that. That's going. That's not a problem. But in the ring, you couldn't convince me he could beat a 13-year-old. Sorry, Adam.
Meanwhile, he was the champ for a while. Maybe still is. I haven't kept up with AEW in a while. Sorry, AEW. I just haven't.
Well, they've got a ton of guys hurt. I mean, a ton of guys and ladies hurt. I mean, they just got a couple of the ladies back. They just got Serena Deeb back. They just got Thunder Rosa back. Um, Thunder Rosa's great. She and I have known each other for a long time. She used to wrestle around here a lot.
Thunder Rosa, I heard, is a
But
really nice person.
was that?
I heard Thunder Rosa is a really nice person in public.
Oh, she's fantastic. She's another one of those. If you're cool with her, she's cool with you. I've seen her put fans in their place if they decided to get a little iffy and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I've met her husband a few different times and that kind of stuff. And Brian is, he's very laid back about a lot of stuff. He doesn't do a whole lot when it comes to that. I think partially because he knows she can handle herself, which I think is kind of cool because you get a lot of those guys in the business or wives in the business that they get a little, you know, dicey when it comes to stuff. So, but yeah, Thunder Rosa is pretty cool.
Um. Yeah. So Rich, one day we will stay on topic.
Are you sure?
No. Maybe once Brandy comes into the equation, she might keep us on topic.
Again, are you
Some,
sure?
sometimes females tend to keep things on topic. Sometimes.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm not sticking my size 17 in my mouth on that one. I'm just gonna let that one go.
Yeah, but sometimes females just keep things in line. How about that?
Okay.
Oh, well, I hope she had fun at the game tonight. Even though it looks like we did end up losing 9-5, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was not good.
Can't win them
9-5.
all, even though we were up 5-0 at one point.
Well, she did get to see one of the most overrated pitchers in the last 10 years. I'm not a Blake Snell fan.
You mean the guy Tampa is gonna kick forever, saying why'd you take him out?
No, I was talking about Blake Snell. I'm not a Blake Snell guy.
Right, the guy in Tampa. They always gonna question why'd you take him out with 75 pitches, pitching
Oh
the
well,
game,
yeah,
pitching the game of his life.
yeah. I mean, that one I never understood. I mean,
That
Madden did a lot of really great things with Tampa and with Chicago, but that particular thing,
analytics were kicking in at that point.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
analytics are a good thing till they become a bad thing.
right? But anyway, Rich, we've now hit the 155 mark. Um,
Yeah.
and like I said, I think it was a good show tonight, guys. We learned that I'm not sure. Did we learn much tonight? We learned that we hit or miss on best. We covered the Hall of Fame speech. We covered some doors. We kept people up to date on the Pirate score. Talked about the last 10.
Yeah, we learned a lot about the base. We learned a lot about the Pirates Hall of Fame. We learned some DFS stuff.
And let me know when you're going to do your best ball. Maybe we could join together and get in the same league.
Okay. Yeah, I'll shoot you a message when I'm gonna do it.
We'll see what happens. I don't know when that's up. I don't know how full it is right now. I know the money maker
Whoops.
goes up quick sometimes.
Let's see. Where are we at here?
Plants do.
They got NFL best ball.
Should
They
be
got
right
a
on.
$3 million contest. Wow.
Should be right on top.
They've
Yeah,
got
15.
49,000 out of 882,000.
Yeah, we're looking at the same one, right? Oh, why is it?
Dude, that's just a big glare. I think that's right.
Yeah. The 15 million to the side in all green.
Uh-huh.
That's it. $20.
Yep.
I can't believe they have Lamb as number 2. How much?
I can't either.
That's a lot of faith in Zach. In Dak.
Yeah. And I'm really not sure about Tyreek Hill at 3.
I think he'll be all right. I hope he's all right. He's on 2 of my team.
Valid point. Sounds good, man.
But Rich, how people get a hold of you, bud?
You can hit me up, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it this week, at Go Big Go Home Pod, or on Facebook with my name, Rich Richardson.
All right. And everyone, you can hit me up at Sports Talking It, Driving to the Top on Twitter also. You can hit us up on the YouTube channel, Driving to the Top Productions. I look for the dog, Miss Phoenix, who didn't do a cameo tonight. I guess she did a little bit over here. Came up beside me for a little bit. Yeah, hit me up there. If anyone wants to come on, talk ball, let us know. We're always looking for guests, fun little conversations. Anyone wants to pop on, let us know. And everybody, have a good night.